Now, one of the big elephants in the room in PC gaming right now is virtual reality. Everyone's excited about it. We heard AMD talk about how they're developing technology specifically for it. But it's unclear exactly what the killer app is, what the killer experience is that will bring VR to the forefront. But the man that I'm about to invite onto the stage, he has some ideas with a product called Eve Valkyrie. Let's bring on to the stage Ryan Geddes from CCP. Hey, John. Ryan, hey!
Good to see you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, Ryan, right off the bat, I dabbled with Oculus a few years ago, and it felt a little awkward to both control the movement of a character, but then also be moving my head around to look around. What makes, in your eyes, Eve Valkyrie a more compelling natural experience for VR?
Yeah, so with Valkyrie, we are trying to essentially make what is the essence of space combat. So we are putting you right in the cockpit of a Valkyrie fighter in the Eve universe, shooting you out of a tube into space, and basically just surrounding you with combat. So it's people locking onto you, missiles, machine guns. You're working as a team. You're really trying to survive out there in space. So
now, and I actually got the chance to try it out last night, and they filmed me. So let's watch me trying on Eve Valkyrie right now. It'll be my first time putting on an Oculus headset in 3-4 years or something. So the last time I did this, I threw up. So let's see what happens. Holy shit. I have to kill the enemies. Get him, get him. Kill him, shoot him, come here. Kill him. Look at me go. Shit, I'm gonna fall over. Oh my God. Oh my God, that is so intense. My proudest moment. And I mean, I cannot stress how intensive an experience it is to sort of look up in the cockpit and just to see, and then to try to steer the whole ship. I mean, do you find players, overwhelmed playing for such long periods of time? It's such an intense, visceral experience.
Yeah, I think once you get it, it's fine, and you can play for a long time, just like you would in any other competitive shooter. But we find that when people first put on the headset and they get in the cockpit and they're out there in space, they're not looking around them at first, because it's not natural to do that. We're used to playing on a 2D plane where the thumbsticks or the mouse and keyboard control our character. In Valkyrie, you really get situational awareness by moving your head around at all times, keeping your head on a pivot, looking up, above you, seeing where your teammates are, where the enemies are. And once that clicks for you, once you get that, you really feel like you're there. And when you take the headset off, it's kind of weird to not be there all of a sudden, because that's how immersive it is.
I felt that immediately.
Maybe sit down next time you play instead of standing up, just for safety.
Probably not poorly planned. I mean, how many of these design elements had to be changed for the VR experience when contrasted with this just being like, a 2D monitor space sim?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, this game was built completely from the ground up for VR. So
really?
Yeah, it was born on VR. We did not make a game first and bring it over. So for us, it was about learning how to make games in VR, which no one's really done before on this level. And so for us, it's about finding out how does the UI work, the different focal lengths. Like, you don't want to be looking at something up close and then having to switch very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, do simple menus become impossible in this sort of environment?
Yeah, I mean, we have to think about it differently. I mean, you don't want to be pulling down menus and having things all over the screen you have to interact with. It really has to be seamless, fluid. Our goal is actually really to put you there, to have that sense of presence and immersion, and make you feel like you're in the cockpit, and to be really in the moment with you, your teammates, fighting against the other team. So, I mean, everything from how you use cover in VR and tactics that you would use as a team, it's all different. I mean, that station there, in a real match, you could go all the way under and around and up above to use that as cover.
Oh, I did that. That freaked me right the hell out, yeah. And, this is a pretty big endeavor to embark upon with a technology that's not widely adopted yet. I mean, what is CCP's sort of long-term view on VR?
We are obviously, very, very big into VR. We think it's one of the future directions that gaming's going, especially on the PC platform. So, I mean, we believe in it a lot. I mean, at CCP for a long time, we've sort of said, internally we want to make games more meaningful than real life, right? And we had to qualify that a lot before VR came along. People kind of thought we were crazy. Now the VR is here, and we can kind of do things that we've always dreamed of doing in games, in virtual reality. We don't really have to as much qualify that statement. So it's very exciting for us.
Is the goal to eventually sort of combine this with the EVE experience?
For us, we see EVE Online and EVE Valkyrie as very separate experiences. I mean, this game is really all about, getting you into the cockpit, getting you out, getting you into combat. It's multiplayer, competitive, space combat.
Right.
It's very different than EVE, and they work very, very separately from one another. EVE has combat and has intense moments, as anybody who's been, gate camped knows. But it's also, it's a lot more too about, the metagame, the politics, the corporations. This is just sheerly about the thrill and the intensity of combat.
And for any of you who have not gotten the chance to try it, I strongly recommend you give it a shot. It is an absolutely insane, intense experience, and I can't wait to see it in full form. Thank you so much, Ryan,
Thanks
for coming out.
Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Thank you.